Hi class, this is a quick tutorial on how to adjust levels in Photoshop. This would be a good tutorial for many of your photographs of your models. So let's imagine I took a picture like this, I brought it into Photoshop. The best way to adjust levels is to use a levels adjustment layer, and you can find those by clicking on this little circle icon down in this corner and then selecting levels. You'll notice that a layer is created for this adjustment, and when you click on that layer it'll bring up a properties panel, and here I can adjust the levels, the amount of white and the amount of black, and also its contrast through this gray bar right here. So what I typically like to do is drag the white to within somewhere of the curve of the histogram, and same thing with black. Black here is already pretty much on the edge, so I don't really have to do anything to that. And then I could drag the grays left and right depending on how much contrast I want, how dark. If these sliders don't work well for you, I also typically use the color picker, the white color picker specifically. And once I select that, I could click anywhere in the image, and any point I click on will be interpreted as a white range. So I could click something that is close to white already, and it won't have as much of a drastic impact, but just a fine-tune adjustment. And I could do that a couple different places and see how that looks. But I could also pick a darker area in which more of the histogram will be set into the white range, so something like that, or even darker, something like that. This will start to look a little bit overexposed, but potentially that is the effect I'm going for. So as any layer, this levels adjustment can be turned on and off by clicking on the eye. And I can also adjust its opacity, so I could turn down this levels adjustment with reference to the layer below. Another thing to be aware of is this little icon here. And this icon, when I click on it, when it's toggled, means that this levels adjustment will only be applied to the single layer underneath it. So I only have one layer, so it doesn't really matter. But imagine I have other layers below this background layer. If I have this toggled, this levels adjustment will only be applied to the single layer directly below it. If I untoggle it, this levels adjustment will be applied to all layers below it. Let's imagine I turn this levels adjustment on, go back to my original layer. I can also do a levels adjustment through the image menu here by going to Menu, Adjustments, Levels. I could do the same adjustments, drag my sliders, use a color picker, but as soon as I click OK, this adjustment becomes permanent. And there's no way to get back to my original image unless I do undo. But if I have done several operations and then I remember down the road that I don't actually like my level adjustment, then I have to simply undo. But if I forgot, there's no way to turn it off or on the same way I can with a levels adjustment layer like here. So my recommendation is that you do all adjustments with layers and not permanently through the image adjustment menu.